Hi everyone, I'm Yi. Today we will delve into Ulla Stockel's pioneering work, The Cat Has Nine Lives, which is recognized as the first feminist film of West Germany. How does the director utilize cinematic language in The Cat Has Nine Lives to explore women's position in a male-dominated society? That's our focus. Firstly, allow me to introduce the director. Stockel holds a unique position in the history of film. As the first female student in the film program at the Womb School of Design, she drew inspiration from the indomitable spirit of classical Greek heroines to challenge the patriarchal narratives. Through her lens, she injected new vigor into portraying the resilience and agency of women. In The Cat Has Nine Lives, we see four women contemplating how to navigate the patriarchal framework of their lives, striving for personal and professional goals and fulfilling their intellectual efforts, sexual explorations, and emotional journeys. Let's talk about the unique cinematic language of this film. What's really fascinating here is how Stockel contrasts her film style with the social realism that was popular at the time. Her approach to filmmaking isn't just about telling a story, it's more than that. It's like she's using the film as a platform to voice political statements, especially from a feminist perspective. The film is totally steps beyond traditional storytelling. She blends narrative cinema with the authenticity of documentary style. It's clever and profound. She uses Techniscope, which was this new film technique in the 90s. Initially designed for those ground widescreen westerns to showcase expansive landscapes. And half of it is shot in apartments, which gives you this melodrama vibes. And this contrast between the freedom of wide open spaces and the confined spaces where the women are portrayed is not just a visual contrast. It speaks volumes about the limitations on women's freedom and rights. And then there's her pursuit of realism. It's reflected in her minimalist sound design. Sometimes it's all about dialogue, no music. And this approach pulls you right into the character's world, grounding the narrative in a relatable reality. And her choice to cast non-professional actors. It adds this layer of authenticity that makes the film even more engaging. You're not just watching a film unfold, you are getting a direct view into the deep emotion and desires of this woman. Let's talk about the intertwined stories of four women in the film. First, we got Annie, Katharina, Magdalena, and Gabriel, each carving their own paths amid social expectations. Take Annie, recently divorced. Then there's Katharina, the independent journalist. Contrast this with Magdalena. She's determined to preserve her marriage despite her husband cheated on her. And Gabriel, the singer, talks about the paradox of being a female sex symbol. These characters are not just fictional figures in the narrative. They are embodiments of the multifaceted struggles faced by women in a patriarchal society. And then there's Circle, a dreamlike figure who symbolizes the boundless idealization of female strengths. Stockel's portrayal isn't just one-dimensional, it's layered within the complexities of seeking social and sexual liberation. As we witness their stories, we're not just considering their aspirations, but also the societal constructs that shape them. Let's move to the opening scene. Katharina driving a car. This image instantly sets the tone for her character. It's a powerful symbol of independence. Her car challenges the traditional role of vehicles in cinema, especially in road movies where freedom, usually a man's domain, is portrayed through open roads. It's the summer of 1967, and here's Katharina, a woman, asserting her freedom simply by driving a car. She's not tied down to a conventional job or a traditional relationship. Instead, she's a freelance journalist, and she's in a casual relationship with a married man. There's another scene where Katharina interviews for a personal secretary position. She boldly asks for a higher salary. And the interviewer, impressed by her capability, suggests a raise might be possible after a trial period. But here's the catch. Katharina later reveals she applied for the job just to see if she could still effortlessly charm her way into employment, just like before. This scene cleverly shows us that while she enjoys the independence her freelance work offers, she's also testing her personal charms, her power to impress in a male-dominated setting. These things are not just about a woman's independence, it's also a reflection of the social norms she's entangled in. Despite her confidence and independence, she finds herself seeking validation in a male-dominated environment. This is a stark reminder of how even the independent women in patriarchal society are not entirely free from the need for male approval. It's a reflection of the deep-rooted patriarchal attitudes that still influence women's lives. Okay, let's switch to the friendship and intimacy between Annie and Katerina. Throughout the film, we see these two women openly showing physical affection, like walking arm in arm, sitting closely together. It's a beautiful portrayal of female friendship and closeness. But here's the catch. Every time these two women get together, it's often interrupted by the male desires or the male gaze. There's one scene where Annie sits on Katerina's lap in the garden chatting with Stephen, and another where Annie wraps her arms around Katerina's neck in an embrace. Whenever these moments occur, Stephen gets visibly uncomfortable. It's as if their closeness challenges his perception of the world order. In one telling scene, Stephen positions himself between them, almost as if to physically re-establish the world order. His remarks about a patriarchal pornocracy are both awkward and telling. He's clearly unsettled by their intimacy, trying to assert some kind of patriarchal control. And how do Annie and Katerina respond? They laugh. It's subtle but powerful. The laughter undercuts the seriousness of Stephen's patriarchal stance, almost ridiculing it. This moment in the film highlights that how female relationships and interactions are often seen and disrupted through a lens of male desire. And this reflects a societal tendency to sexualize or view women's interactions through a patriarchal lens, overshadowing the authenticity of female friendship or support. And secondly, the way Annie and Katerina openly express affection only to be interrupted by Stephen, who feels the need to re-establish the world order, symbolizes the continual male assertion and invasion of women's spaces. One scene that really stands out is where we see Annie sitting on a park bench, sucking on a lollipop. The camera then shifts into a close-up of chocolates in a box next to her before returning her mouth as she eats them. This imaginary, at least to me, invokes Disease from 1966, where the main characters, both women, engage in a kind of food orgy or battle as an expression of their unmet desires. What's particularly striking is how the film uncovers the complexity of female sexuality and design within this patriarchal setup. It's not just about romance or relationships, but a deeper commentary on how women's lives and their quest for fulfillment are shaped and often constrained by the societal norms dominated by male perspectives. As we draw our exploration of Ulla Stockholm's The Cat Has Nine Lives to a close, it's essential to circle back to our central question. How does the director use language of film to illustrate the role of women in a patriarchal society? Stockholm breaks away from traditional narrative forms, creating a contrast between the freedom represented by expansive landscapes and the confined spaces that depict the limited lives of women portrayed. Moreover, Stockholm's minimalist sound design and the use of non-professional actors bring a raw, immersive feeling to the film. This approach brings their struggles and aspirations to life in a way that both intimate and real. Through the intertwined stories of four women, we see the struggles of women navigating a male-dominated society. Whether it's Katerina's independence, Magdalena's marital challenges, or Gabriel's reflections on being a female sex symbol, each story questions societal expectations and reflects the woman's complex journey towards personal growth and self-realization. 4 out of the 5 women are in some way connected to Stephen. At every turn, we see that their efforts to achieve personal and professional satisfaction are somehow hinged on men or overarching patriarchal structure. In conclusion, The Cat Has Nine Lives is more than just a film. It's a profound exploration of the roles and realities of women in a patriarchal society. Stockholm uses the language of film not just to tell a story, but to challenge us, to make us think, and to inspire a conversation about women's liberation, both then and now. Here is the reference list. Thank you all for your attention.